I wanted to ask you guys, can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm switching up the audio today. Welcome to our weekly bake along. I'm sure you're missing one person here. Marlyn is taking a week off, but she will be back, I think, next week. And today I'm going to show you how I make my hot dog buns. Super fun, super easy recipe. It's one of my favorite bread recipes to make. It's also posted on my blog. If you are just joining us, you can still make this recipe. Here is the link, so you can check it out on my blog. It has only a few ingredients, really, really easy to do. Hi, Donna. Can you hear me, Donna? I'm just checking in if everyone can hear me. Just wondering, because I'm trying a new audio setup here. Okay, so the recipe. Hi, Jennifer. I guess you guys can hear me, so. So recipe is on the bottom. You can still grab it, and you only need flour, a little bit of butter, yeast, and water, and you're ready to go. Hi, guys. All right, so I also wanted to ask you guys, once you start joining in, what is the last thing that you baked? Let me know in the comments. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started with today's project. I will be checking the comments as, hi June, as I work, and I will answer any questions if you have any. I also put together a supply list in my coffee shop. And it includes all the favorite things, not all the favorite things, all the things that I use to make these hot dog buns. One of my favorite things is my mixer. It's a stand mixer, but unfortunately, I don't have a stand mixer. This is the one that I love, Kenwood. It's really, really great for yeast dough, but I don't have it now. So I'm gonna be actually demonstrating how I knead the dough by hand. And ever since we moved to Spain, I came to love this method because you get a better feel of the dough. And I'll show you really easy how you can put the dough together just with your two hands. Super, super fun and easy to do. And I find it really, really relaxing as well. All right, so you can find the supply list in my coffee shop. Link is running down below this picture. And now I'm just going to remove this. Okay, I'm back. All right, so let's start with the flour. I'm gonna be using what they have here in Spain. I would say it's an all-purpose flour. And I checked on the packaging here. It says 9.9 grams protein per 100 grams. So this means this is about 10% protein flour, which is kind of low, and this would be great for cookies and cakes and things like that. So you want to use flour that is a bit more higher in protein. So instead of using just this flour, I'm going to add some higher protein flour, which is a bread flour here. And this is 11.7 protein per percent per 100, 11.7 grams per 100 grams. So this is 11.7% protein in this flour. Now, if you don't have bread flour, or if you have just very little bread flour, you can mix it with all-purpose flour to make it work. During the pandemic, there was such a shortage of bread flour. So I only had some bread flour, and mostly I had like generic all-purpose. So I ended up mixing the two. So I would save the bread flour when I was making the buns, because I made a lot of buns during the pandemic. All right, so I'm going to use my favorite scale. It's also listed in my shop in a supplies. I don't know if I showed you. It has a retractable display, which is super handy if you have a large bowl. And this recipe uses 500 grams. I also have the cup version on my blog. When I measure my flour into cups, I don't spoon in. So that's why the measurement for my cup is about 133 grams. So I'm going to add 154 grams of the all-purpose flour, and then the rest I'm gonna do the bread flour. Okay. And even the texture of the bread flour or higher protein flour is slightly different. I'm going to talk about once I'm done mixing everything, I'm going to show you some of my favorite flours to work with that you can source out in the States. So next thing, we're going to add salt. When I initially posted this recipe, I got such a bad feedback about the amount of salt I used in this recipe, so I did scale it down. But I do like these to be salty, so you can really play with the amount. I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons, and that is scaled down. So if you have low sodium diet, now I would probably scale it down to maybe 1/2 teaspoon. All right, so we have this done. I can set this aside, and I'm going to work with my yeast. I'm going to use active yeast today. I'm also going to talk about different yeast in the break when we do. Hi, Millie. I'm doing hot dog buns. Okay, let me just quickly show you the picture what we are doing today. All right, so this is what we are making today, guys. I've made these hundreds of times, and I love these. They are very popular with everyone. Especially kids love them. The other day we had a boy here and he ate like 4 of them. I'm like, you need to stop. You're gonna be, all breaded out. These are really, really easy to make. And all right, so I'm gonna be using, this is active yeast. This is, I think, the most popular yeast out there. There is also instant yeast, and then we also have fresh yeast, compressed yeast or cake yeast, which is harder to find, and it's also not as shelf stable, although you can freeze it for up to, I think, 2 years. Dry yeast, it's just easier. Instant yeast, it's faster acting, and you don't have to activate it. However, the one disadvantage of instant yeast is that the dough rises really quickly, and because of that, the strength of the bread may not be as strong as you wish. And also, it may lose some of the flavor. All right, so I'm going to, first I need to prepare my water. So we need warm water. Make sure that you're not using hot water. Anyone is making these with me, guys? Hey, Mar. So Mar is actually watching Get Off the Internet. You need to relax. Oh, that's awesome. I love this scale. Yes. Yes, I'm flying solo. It's different. And I miss my best friend, but she's having a great time. So, all right. So I'm going to get my water. And you can heat up the water obviously in the microwave. I'm not going to use tap water because here where we live, the tap water is not the greatest. So I use a bottled water. Or I should just heat it up in my kettle. That's right. Okay. So I poured the water into the kettle, and I'm just gonna wait for it to heat it up a little bit, and then we can start. Thanks, Kim. So, like I said, I'm gonna be using active yeast, 2.5 teaspoons, which is about one small packet. They kind of range. It's 2.25 or 2.5. So I'm gonna do 2.5. And also one difference between the instant yeast and active yeast, there is a smidget different between the size of these small granules. Instant yeast is finer, so it dissolves quicker, and you don't have to activate it. You can add it directly into your dough. So it looks like this is going to. All right. So I've got my hot water here. Now, instead of pouring this in, obviously, you don't want to pour hot water or hot liquid over yeast because it will kill it. Okay. So let's see, this is pretty hot. So I'm going to add water, cold water. We're just gonna mix two until we are happy with the temperature. I'm going to use my finger. I clean my hands all the time. Okay, this is good. You don't want it to be too hot. It's actually better when it's cooler than hotter. When it's cooler, it just means it's gonna take longer to kind of like start bubbling and stuff. But when you pour hot water over it, it's gonna kill it. So you won't have any bread whatsoever. Okay. So I'm gonna use, this recipe uses 300 milliliters, which is about, so this is 125. So we're gonna do 2 of those. It's 250, and then this one is 60. Okay, that's perfect. All right. Now I'm going to also add some flour to this. Flour is going to act as food. And I also like to add a little bit of honey. Now this is optional. I like to add honey because it aids in caramelization of the bread. And I'm using actually a local honey. This is lemon honey. Check this out. I don't know why I thought because it's lemon, it's going to have lemon flavor. I don't know why. It just means that the bees, are in the lemon orchard, I guess. But it's very, very tasty, and it has a really nice, like a yellow color. Where's my fork? All right, so I'm just going to whisk, and this is basically our sponge. We're gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes, and as soon as you see bubbles on the top, we can add it to the flour, and I'm gonna show you how to knead the dough by hand. And if it's not going to bubble, that means that you kill the yeast. So I always actually test my yeast, not the instant yeast, but active yeast. I always test it. Somebody told me that you don't have to activate the active yeast, but I'm like, I'm not 100% sure about that. But so I always activate it just to be sure. Hi, Amber. Anybody baking with me, guys? I wish I had somebody who could read the comments, but anybody baking, let me know if you guys are baking. You can still join me. There is still time. The recipe is on the blog. And I'm going to try to get the link there if I can figure out where it is. Okay, here it is. So guys, grab your flour and yeast and water and let's bake with me, okay? And again, what is the last thing you baked? Let me know in the comments. So I'm gonna set this aside, clean up this, and then I'm gonna show you a few things that I prepared for you guys. Now I wanted to talk about different flours. Now my favorite flour to work with is King Arthur flour. I love using their all-purpose for my cookies. And you can see on the packaging, they actually state the protein content. So their all-purpose flour, it's really good for bread as well, 11.7%. That is the flour that is here considered bread flour in Spain. And the bread flour from King Arthur is 12.7. So that's really, really strong protein flour. So you could, again, like if you don't have enough bread flour, you could mix some of it with all-purpose or like generic flour that some of the grocery stores carry. For example, I would mix it with, this is a Giant brand that I would get all-purpose, and I would mix it with bread flour. Although I don't think they state the content of the protein on these flours, but during the pandemic, that's all I could find. Another brand that I use is Wegmans all-purpose. All-purpose flour I wouldn't recommend for making cookies, sugar cookies. Honestly, I've had such a bad experience with this flour to make the cookies. For the bread, when I mixed it with bread flour, it was fine. And then also another brand, it's Gold Medal. I think Gold Medal all-purpose, it's 10.5% protein. So it's on the lower side. Now, if I was to tell you the cake flour is about 7%. So that's how different the protein content is in flour, 7% to up to 13, 14%. So that's a lot. And also I wanted to show you different yeast. So this is the active yeast. This is the one that I'm using today. Obviously it's a slightly different brand, but it's a active yeast. And then this is instant yeast. You see? It's even on the packaging. And this is fresh yeast. This is fresh yeast. It's fresh yeast. It's kind of like a crumbly texture. it has a crumbly texture. Like I said, you can freeze it, but it's harder to find in grocery stores, I find. One really fun thing about yeast, you can use fresh yeast. You can use it in your beauty routine. If you have acne-prone skin, you can make a mask, and it works really great on your skin. It has lots of vitamin B, and it smooths the skin and leaves it really, really soft. All right, let me see your comments. Oh yeah, I don't know how I'm doing this by myself either. Oh look, this is happening. You see, like on the top, it's starting to collect all these, fun stuff. So yeast basically needs moisture, warmth, and food. So we added all of that, and now it's starting to work. Okay, I'm just going through your comments. Yes, hot dog buns. Maybe we'll make macarons next. Oh, the last thing you baked were sugar cookies. Oh, brownies with walnuts. That sounds really good. Keto bread. I don't know how to make that, Debbie. King Arthur flour. Yes, I think it's one of the best. Absolutely. Ooh, lemon pie today and fresh peach pie. I have some peaches, local peaches, and I would love some peach pie. It would be awesome. Oh, sorry to hear, Ken, that you hurt your back. Sugar cookies, cookie butter, and cinnamon spice. But last thing I baked was chocolate espresso cookie flour. Oh, that sounds yummy. Oh, you baked cookies this morning. How surprising. What were they? Hey, what's up, Jeremy? So what did you bake? Cookies, banana nut bread. That sounds yummy as well. I haven't made banana bread since like last year. Oh, I made, actually, I have a surprise for you. Maybe at the end of the video live, I will remember. Keto brownies. What's a tart ball? Okay, I don't know what that is. Can you maybe explain what's a tart ball? Is it a type of a tart? No idea. Oh yeah, Heather, no, that's not gonna happen. Oh, Jeremy is making hot dog buns. No, drinking it. Well, we have to wait for this to ferment a little longer for us to have some alcohol. So that's gonna be a while. I bake nothing. Well, Mar, get off the internet. You should be resting at the beach. I'm trying to move. Oh yes. So you found the house. Did you find the house? That's awesome. Oh, Ashley made 120 cookies last night to decorate today and tomorrow. Good luck. What kind of cookies? I made a cake and strawberry shortcake. All right, so let's see. Okay. All right, so I will go back to making my bread. And you can tell me what's the hardest thing to bake. All right, so I'm gonna give this a stir. Oh, I almost forgot one important ingredient, and that is butter. This recipe actually uses butter, but you can make it vegan. And I have done this many, many times. I've used this butter, Earth Balance, instead of regular dairy butter. You can also use lard if you are, lard fan. However, lard has some flavor, so it also lends that flavor to the buns, which I personally love. But if you're not into that, I wouldn't recommend it then. And also you can use duck fat, so you can use any, animal fat if you wish. I mostly use butter, or if I could find in the States, Earth Balance was really nice. It is slightly salty, so you might want to check how much salt is in Earth Balance before you add any extra salt into your dough, just in case if you're following a low sodium diet. And all right, so this recipe only uses 30 grams, which is about an ounce of butter. 1 ounce is 28.3 grams. And I'm just gonna use my scale again. Oops, not this. I'm just gonna add it to my, all right. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know. All right, so this is 24. If you add a little more, it's fine, no big deal. Okay, 37, that's fine. We can live with that. Now, I'm not gonna need this at this moment, so let's set this aside. And now, okay, what I like to do, I like to actually pour everything in. And first, I like to just stir it like that until it comes somewhat together. Cookie cake, that sounds really yummy. Okay, this looks like it needs a little more water. You see how kind of dry that is? So I'm gonna add a little more water. Now, the content of water that you have to add depends on the flour you're using. Some flour, it's more dehydrated than others. So you might wanna add more water. All right. A little more, just a teaspoon or so. All right, so now I'm going to dump this on my work surface. I know it looks like, it's not gonna happen, but if you have a stand mixer and a hook attachment, you can do that, but I don't have one, like I said. I sold it to a good friend of mine, and she's using it with all her love. And all right, so now we have all this mass here, so I'm going to switch the camera so you guys can, I guess this was better. All right, so let me zoom in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start working with both. You can do just one hand, but I like to use both hands. I'm going to start bringing this in and pushing it out like that, and then turning it. You want to turn it only in one direction. You don't want to go to the right, to the left, because if you do that, you're going to break up the gluten that you're trying to develop. Like your stand mixer, it doesn't go this way. It goes only one way, right? Oh, thank you, Jeremy. Oh, anything with these, if you don't know how not to kill it. Oh, and I forgot to mention there is there's wild yeast. I forgot to mention there's active yeast, instant yeast, and wild yeast. So you see how it's coming together? I mean, how long was this? Like a minute? So you just continue kneading it until it comes into a soft ball. I'm going to show you, if you are using a stand mixer, I have a short clip that you can see what it's supposed to look like. I can already tell that this dough is going to be slightly denser than I would have liked. This is actually relaxing, Debbie. When we were moving and in the middle of like pandemic, I actually made, I'm gonna show you. I had, everything was packed and I sold all my equipment, and we had a crew come in helping us, move. So I wanted to make some homemade buns, these hot dog buns. So I made 4 batches or 5 batches by hand, and I just had them in plastic containers. I didn't have a rolling pin, so my husband made one from a bamboo stick. We wrapped it in a food wrap, and we also wrapped plywood in food wrap. to make a cutting board. Because you need, yes. What is wild yeast? Well, wild yeast is everywhere. It's what, when you make sourdough starter, or when you make pre-ferments. Hello, Diana. Oh, what was I talking about? Somebody remind me. June has made these buns before. And you guys are gonna have to bake them as well. Go get the recipe. It's still time. This is a pretty lean bread. It only has, like I said, 30 grams of butter. And so it doesn't need a whole lot of rising. 30, 40 minutes, and it should be ready to go. I'm also going to share a few tips with you, how I like to rise my dough. Thanks, Jennifer. Now this is only 500 grams of flour. Now if you were to do more, it's going to require a lot more elbow grease. But it's a good exercise for your shoulders. It's summer, so we all want to do our best, huh? I don't have a sourdough recipe yet. Ooh, I love making buns with custards or coconut filling. What do you mean buns? Like yeast buns? Yes, we did. I'll show you in a second. I'm just gonna finish this up. See, I'm using this other hand, my left hand, to kind of, hold the loaf. Sweet bread, yes, I love making sweet bread as well. Kolache, cinnamon buns, brioche. I love blueberry bread that I made. I also love, I think the yeast sweet bread dough recipe that I love using. It's the one that you let it rest in the fridge. Oh, croissant, yes, I can see that. I think I discovered, like successfully finally after many years of baking eclairs, I always wanted to achieve a smooth eclair top. Some of them would crack, some of them would be smooth, so I couldn't figure it out. So what I did, I don't know why it didn't occur to me. First time I sprayed them with water. Oh my God, that's the brioche. That's not an insult. You know what's brioche? Buttery dough. It's so good. Have you had brioche, Jeremy? Anyway, so it kind of helped me, and I was able to get a smooth, without a crack, eclair. All right, so this is going to go into a bowl, and I'm going to utilize this bowl. I'm not gonna mess up another bowl. So I'm adding, this is actually, it's a cooking spray, golden sunflower oil. You can do olive oil or palm or whatever you have. And now, as far as the rising goes, what you can do, and I find this really helps, to bring 3 cups of water to boil. Put a shallow dish on the bottom of your oven, or not on the bottom, on a below where you're gonna put your bowl, and put the bowl with dough above it, and then pour hot water in the container and close the door on your oven. It does wonders. It really does. If you have to use the oven and can't do this, you can also, and I've done this only a few times, but it did work. You don't have moisture, but you have heat. You can turn on the wash dryer. Has anyone tried that with the dryer? I would let it go like for 2 or 3 minutes, and then it was warm, and I would put the dough in, and it really, really works. Oh, Jeremy, we love you. All right, so I'm gonna put this. Oh, and another thing that you can do. This is what my grandmother did. Okay, so she had blankets and goose down comforters. She would wrap her dough in a blanket. Now this is not a blanket. This is a towel that I have, but I wrapped it to kind of keep it somewhat warm, and it does help. Look at this beauty. So this has been what time is it? It's 1:31. So this has been rising for about 40 minutes. I made it shortly before, and it was about the size. Oh, let me just show you. So I don't know if you can hear me when I remove myself, but I was just showing you the size of the bread before it rises, and then this is the one that I made earlier. Okay, I'm gonna be making lots of buns today. All right, so now we're actually ready to shape the dough. Look how pretty. I love it. So I like to actually clean up my space a little bit. I like to weigh my buns. If you don't have a scale, what you can do, let me quickly just, if I have pictures here, I wanted to show you. Oh, I guess I didn't prepare those. All right, so what you can do, you can just cut it into veggies, if that makes sense. You can, let me just quickly see if I can grab it. That's what I did when we packed everything and I didn't have anything to work with. I just cut them up into approximately, same. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I have that picture here. So, all right, never mind. Nevertheless, all right. So I'm going to weigh them. And what I like to do, I always like to weigh my bowl first. So I did that before. Now I'm going to put this on, and this is, and somebody can do the math, 130, 130, 1,000. So I'm gonna use a calculator. Excuse me. So it's 1,369 minus 444. So that's 925 grams. All right. So nine. Oops. What did I do? Oops. What did I do? So let's divide it by 10, thinking we want 10 buns. Now I'm going to make these buns are I don't know the size, but they are kind of like a larger. It fits a hot dog bun basically. No, it will fit a hot dog. But you could make these smaller, and kids really like them when they're like a half size. They're like miniature hot dog buns, super, super cute. All right, so I'm going to get this out. Look at this. So see, that's what I was like, if you dump it like this and you don't have a scale, you can just divide it, cut it in half, and then, you can do that. Should I do that instead of weighing it? I'm gonna wait because, yes, that is a Snoopy necklace. There's only one way. We all have to look up. And music notes. Yes, I was thinking of you, June. All right, so I'm going to wait. So it should have about 90 grams each. Now if you wanna make them smaller, make them smaller. It smells so good. Let me see if you guys can see better if this is like that. All right. This dough is so easy to work with. I also had kids work with this dough and they love it. These buns are great for so many things. Not just they're not. I mean, I really shouldn't call them hot dog buns because they're so versatile. You can use them for hot dogs. Oh, what am I doing? For hot dogs, but you can also make actually breadcrumbs with them. You can make bread pudding. You can make crostini, croutons. You can brush them with a little bit of olive oil and toast, like cut them up on a diagonal, toast them. Oh, it's heaven. With hummus or whatever you have. It's delicious. All right, so I'm going to, because I didn't measure right, just gonna divide it. No big deal. All right. So now I'm going to shape these into small buns, like so. Let me zoom in so you guys can see better. Oops. All right, so what I'm doing, I'm basically doing the same thing I did when I was shaping the bread in the beginning. See how I'm but on a smaller scale. Making these little buns. So nobody's baking with me. That's a shame. You would love these. And your family would love these. Now you can actually make this a sweet bread because what I do, I cut them in half and I put butter and jam on it. It's so good. So good. Or it's really good with honey. Oh, what I love is ricotta, and you flavor ricotta with herbs. Some, I think it's thyme, and then you pour honey over it, and then you eat it with this bread when it's toasted. It's so good. Salty, crunchy. Oh, nice. Gosh, bread. Look, folks, they're like big buns. All right, so look at these beauties. Now, because we deflated the dough, now ideally I recommend to cover these and allow the gluten to relax a little bit so they are easier to roll out. We only have how many? 2, 4, I didn't make a whole lot. It's only nine buns, but these are fairly big. I mean, for regular size, I would say. Maybe slightly bigger than what you're normally used to getting from a grocery store. I have no yeast, but you are making me want to. I'm also wanting to make my Hawaiian sweet bread. Ooh. I have not tried that, or Portuguese. Yeah, somebody else mentioned the Portuguese sweet bread. I have to look it up. All right, guys. So now I'm going to show you how I like to shape these. Shaping is super easy. And ideally, I have a granite countertop here, but if you don't have a granite countertop, you can, like I said before, we had used, no, not this one here. You see, this is the picture I was talking about. On the left, there are 4 bowls with this dough that I had made. Now, if you have to make more, or if you want to make more buns, I would make them in probably like 20, like, don't make them all at once, like do like 20 minutes between each dough so you don't have them all rising at the same time, unless you have a bakery style of kitchen with several ovens that you can utilize to bake these off. And then on the right hand side the picture, you see the wrap. So that's basically, I think this was my photo prop background that we wrapped in food wrap, so then we could roll these out fairly quickly, and it worked. Hey, and see, or you can use a silicone mat if you have that, silicone mat or something. The idea is to make the dough slightly like cling to the surface, so it's not going to retract as you roll it out into a thin sheet. And silicone or granite, the countertop, or a food wrapped cutting board helps with that. Okay. All right. I also like to use, however, it's not required. I also like to use a silicone rolling pin for the same reason. It doesn't stick to it as much as the wood rolling pin. But having said that, you can also use a wood rolling pin. This is a wooden pin I picked up here at it's a China market. China, it's kind of like equivalent to, you see how this needs to relax a little more because it's retracting too much. But I'm gonna push it out anyway. It's like a dollar store equivalent, but much more expensive. Okay, so you roll it out like that, and then super simple. Now, at this point, I'm going to use my hands and kind of taper the ends a little bit and press it down slightly so the end sticks to it. Sticks to the, the seam sticks to the batter. Okay. And you can put these on your baking sheet. Okay. Teflon mats. I just bought them, but it's been too hot. No, I have not used Teflon mats. I don't know. I'm going to cover these up so they don't crust. Any questions? I actually grew up on fresh yeast, I have to say. I didn't even know about dry yeast until I moved to States, and I had such a hard time understanding the conversion between dry yeast and fresh yeast. But once I learned it, I'm not going back to fresh yeast. And I think dry yeast also offers more consistency. You could also flavor these if you want. Last night I made a batch and I added some cheese to them. Yes, he Jeremy. Yes, he doesn't. Yeah, my husband. He's definitely not overweight. He loves baked goods, but he only likes what he likes. He will eat these. Yes, he will eat that, but not a whole lot more. I'm rolling these. I'm gonna show you how thin I'm rolling these in a second. They're fairly thin. And you could use this dough also to make stuffed. What are they called? Help me out here. When you do the hot dog and you wrap it in a dough, what is it called? Oh yes, June. Thank you. Can't think of it now. But let me show you how thin I roll these out. Okay. Oh yes, I wanted to also show you quickly. When you're using a mixer, this is what's gonna happen. This is not a dense dough. It's fairly soft. It should be kind of very like easy to work with. It shouldn't be overly soft. Like it shouldn't be sticking to your fingers like sourdough or anything like that. It should be soft, but not super soft. And then you can do that and cover it up and let it rise. Let me show you. I thought there was a video how I was rolling these out. I guess it's the second segment I have here, and I will talk about how we are going to. Oh, here it is. So this is how thin you're gonna roll these out. Like I said, it's best to let the shaped small buns covered and let them rest for like 10-15 minutes to relax the gluten a little bit. So they are going to be easier to roll out and they will not be retracting as much. And then once they're risen, what I like to do, and this is I think very crucial for making these. And if you have made bread, you know that steam is often mentioned when making bread, and steam it does wonders to bread. It really does. And my favorite way to introduce steam to bread when baking it is by spraying the bread before it goes into the oven, and also placing a small shallow dish on the bottom of the oven and preheating it with the oven, which reminds me I should preheat the oven. And then you put the sprayed buns into the oven, and then you pour like a quarter cup of water into the oven on a hot shallow pot or something, whatever you have. Make sure that you don't use glass, because I've had someone making these and the glass, I think it's only safe to, I would say, 375 degrees of Fahrenheit. So it actually burst, and the person actually blamed me for not disclosing that information, which it wouldn't occur to me that it would happen, but I guess it's best to use something that is not going to break in the oven, like an old baking sheet, or I'm using a toaster tray. And then you pour the water, and the steam kind of does the magic. Steam is really important only during the from 5 to 10 minutes of baking. Once the structure is formed, it's not going to do much. It's going to, steam helps to kind of, I don't want to say delay, but delay the rising of the bread so it doesn't tear. And then once the steam evaporates, what happens, there is sugar, right? So the sugar then caramelizes, and that's going to make your buns brown. And steam also aids in making your buns shiny. You can also do, if you don't want to do water, a lot of bakers, they also do ice cubes. Instead of pouring water on a shallow pot, you can also do ice cubes. They work as well. Okay, I see we have some questions. Oh, Jeremy, you need to bake some bread. Yes, it also keeps it from hardening. Yes, I actually spray these twice. I spray them before they go into the oven and right after I take them out of the oven. And it keeps the crust really soft. I'm a little spoiled here because I do have a steam oven. So all I have to do is press a button and it introduces the steam for 1 minute. And so I'm very spoiled. But I didn't have that in the States. So I'm gonna attempt to fit all of these on one baking sheet. Okay, so here they are. I can totally feel that these are already rising again. The proof thing before we bake these. You can see how puffier these are than the ones I just finished. So I'm going to cover this. And with every bread, it's really important not to overproof. You can either underproof, you proof correctly, and then you can overproof. Now, I find that overproofing is it causes more damage than underproofing. Because once you overproof, and I've done that a few weeks ago when I had someone over and we were actually making these, and we lost power or something, and they were so tough. Like it wasn't a pleasant experience. Like some of them were okay, but some of them were not very nice. So I'm gonna turn on my oven, and you're gonna bake these at high temperature, at 425 degrees of Fahrenheit, which is about 215 degrees of Celsius. So this is a pretty high temperature, and that's what you wanna bake these at. So I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can see, let me just switch the camera. Hopefully you'll be able to see. All right, so I'm opening my oven, and here on the bottom, although I do have a steam oven, I wanted to show you how I do it. So I've got, and it says, use this pan for top browning, remove for toasting. Always use blah blah blah. I can read it. But anyway, this is from the toaster. So I'm gonna use this on the bottom here, and then my sheet is going to go over the top. But because this is a steam oven, it doesn't give a lot of room for the steam to travel. Okay, so that's the only disadvantage of this method, using it with a steam oven like this. Now, if you have an oven that allows you, because this baking sheet goes into this track, so the steam forming here is not going to get about it, right? So this method is not going to work, I guess, in this oven, as I had thought. So I'm going to, but I will show you anyway what I do, I suppose, just so you know. All right, so let's preheat this baby. Okay. And in my case, I should probably use ice cubes instead of water. Well, I think creating anything is helpful. Now, don't you think, Jeremy? I know you work with wood. I think it just, or maybe go for, if you have park close by, you can go to the park. It really does help. Just go and walk and don't think about anything. It is a pretty small, and this is a big. Yes, it's not a Spain thing. It's actually in whole Europe. They have small. The oven size is not as big. So, but in my studio, hopefully, I'll be able to show you my oven in the studio. It's actually bigger than the one I had in the States, I think. In the States, I think they are 90 centimeters. Here, it's this is a standard size. Yes, it's quite small, but I got used to it. It's fine. I'm going to show you the buns I made yesterday. So I put these in the freezer because these actually freeze really, really well. Really well. So if you want to make this ahead of time, they freeze really well. These are the miniature mini ones I did, and I added cheese. I don't know if you remember. I mentioned that into the dough I also added some mozzarella, shredded mozzarella cheese. So this is what they look like when they're frozen. And this is the other ones I did. These are larger. You know, this is the size, like a regular size. The ones I'm just, waiting for them to proof second time. And also one thing, a lot of people don't bake these for long enough. I find I get pictures from you guys, well, maybe not from you, but from folks who actually make these, and they don't let them brown enough. So you want to make sure that they are golden brown on the top. And if you want to quickly defrost them, you just pop them in the microwave at like 50% power, or I don't know if you have a setting to 75% power for like 20 seconds or so, and they should be ready to go. Or just leave them on a counter for like 30 minutes and they will be fine. Yes, they're really, really good. Last night I was up very late baking those, and I had 3 just off, like I was just like getting them off the baking sheet, and they were really, really good. I don't know why. I make the small ones thinking I'm not gonna eat as many of them, but then I end up eating 3. So it's like, okay, I just ate 1.5. And you could also add herbs if you wanted to. You can really play with this recipe. But like I said, this very like basic flavor, it goes well with so many different things, and they're really popular with kids. Really, really popular. All right, so yeah, that's all that I wanted to say about this recipe, I think, unless you have any questions. You could, instead of honey, if you don't have honey, you could use sugar also. But like I said, it's only using like 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I do always, what is it? I always do quality control business straight from the oven. Yes. Oh, with butter and jam. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Everything but the bagel topping. What do you mean? Oh, let me see. I think I was. Well, who do you bake for? So, oh, it wasn't. Okay, it was. Oh, the bagel. Okay, to make dinner rolls. I haven't tried making dinner rolls with these. If you want to make, do you mean like hamburger rolls? Because for hamburger rolls, I have a really, really good recipe with it's potato hamburger rolls. They are to die for. They're absolutely amazing. I make cookies for the store and anyone who walks in my door. Okay, excellent. Oh, you bake. Oh, so you don't bake for the family. You bake for. Okay. Sprinkle the topping blend. Oh, yeah, I don't have. It was actually cheese in the bread. I had shredded cheese in the bread. Please do macarons. Okay. I cannot get it. Yeah, macarons are so finicky. They're so finicky. I don't know if they like me or not. Sometimes they turn out okay. Sometimes they give me a hard time. Oh, that's awesome. Lucky family and friends. Macaron, you mean French macaron, not the coconut ones, right? Although I do love the coconut ones as well. We do have, guys, something fun prepared for you during these bake-alongs. We were just talking with Mar last week that we're going to do a new series, cupcake series. And so next week, I think we're going to work on, or I'm going to be working, and Mar is just going to help me because she will be just coming off from her vacation. So we're going to be doing cupcake recipes, and I think it will be really fun. Although I have to admit, I'm not a cupcake person, but I do like gourmet cupcakes, something fancier. Okay, Jeremy, cool it down. Oh, oh, cupcakes. Yes, cupcakes. We do have a like it's like a love and hate relationship. They can be quite finicky, I find as well. I guess if you have a good recipe, it works. But my problem is I would always overfill them. Like I wanted to be always so generous with the batter, and then they would overfill and they would look so terrible. So I really like them when they have that dough. So I've been testing some recipes and yeah, that's what we have planned for you guys. So if you have any ideas for the cupcakes, decorated cupcakes, that is, let us know. And if you're not following us on Instagram, you can find us, follow Baking with My BFF on Instagram. That's our new account where we are sharing all the things we do during these bake-alongs. And last week, or week before, last week we made, what did we make last week? Now I'm really confused what we made. I can't remember. My memory escapes me. Marlyn would say this is my senior moment, but I really don't know. But anyway, so we made sugar cookies. If you haven't watched that episode, you can watch this episode on my Facebook or Marlyn's Facebook, Montreal Confections, or on our YouTube channels. And we also made strawberry shortcake versions of our, like it was, Marlyn made strawberry shortcake in a cup, and I made strawberry shortcake poke cake. And honestly, I don't remember what we did last week, so my memory escapes me totally. I don't remember. I also wanted to show you the dough, what it looks like, just so you decide to make this, so you can have a reference. You see how soft that is? It's not a super dense dough. Oh yes, pigs in a blanket. Yes, yes, that's what I was thinking. Yes, I didn't see your reply. Sorry. Oh, babka. I love babka. I have a really nice recipe on the blog for blueberry babka that could be adapted for chocolate babka or any kind of babka that you want to make. But I think chocolate one is really the most popular. But I love my blueberry one. Yes, yes, you can definitely use this recipe to make pigs in a blanket. What you would do, you would shape it like I did, but well, you would roll it out, but then you would shape it so you would have a long bun, kind of, and then you would seal it. You would pinch the seam, and then you would roll it out into a long snake, and then taper the ends, and then you would wrap it around your hot dog. Yes, cinnamon buns are also one of my favorites. Okay, so let's see. These are coming along. It's pretty warm here, so they're coming along nicely. They're still, I mean, they're still pretty firm. They need to be more fluffy. Buster, yes, Buster is here with me in Spain. He's actually hiding in a studio. He's watching the cookie cutters. Poor thing. He hasn't seen the light for months. Oh, to me, muffins are dense and not as sweet as cupcakes. Well, yeah, well, muffins are not. I don't think muffins are supposed to be sweet, right? Muffins are supposed to be less sweet, and they are a bit denser. Cupcakes are more delicate, like cake. Yes, me too. I absolutely love fresh bread. My grandmother would bake bread every weekend for us, and I don't know how she did it. She used a handheld, but when she made it, it was like from 4 pounds of dough. Like imagine, like it was a lot. And I remember she had like this big bowl, and she was doing it in the morning while we were sleeping in a bathroom, so she wouldn't wake us up. And then she would let us use some of the dough to make our little buns that were unedible because we touched it so much. And you people who aren't cupcake. Okay. So I think my oven is going to be preheated soon. Chocolate chip muffins. How are those classified as muffins? And the double chocolate ones. I don't know what you're talking about. What are the chocolate chip muffins? You mean they should be called cupcakes? Well, I think it makes because like June said, the dough. But I think anything could be a cupcake, no? Like anything you put a frosting on could be a cupcake. So if you make really good banana muffins, you put a frosting on top of it, and essentially it's a cupcake. No? Although to me, cupcakes should have like I said, tender, like a cakey texture more than a muffin. Brownie cups. Oh my! Oh yeah, we made brownie cups. Yes, thanks. Sorry, thanks. Yes, I completely forgot we made brownie cups. So if you haven't watched that episode, that was a really fun episode because my recipe totally failed. I didn't know. It wasn't the recipe. It was actually the mix that failed. But it was very delicious, I have to say. I ended up. I don't know if I should say that out loud. I ended up eating them all. Not in the same day, but it was quite tasty. Well, I would say no. What's the difference? What do you guys say? What is the difference between muffin and a cupcake? Okay, let me know in the comments. I would love to know myself. Oh, okay. But I do think, oops. Oh gosh, I lived in the States for 20 or 21 years. Well, I wanted to explore. I wanted to explore. I wanted to see the world, and I'm so glad I did. I met such wonderful people and learned so many things. And now we wanted to move back to Europe to live closer to our families. My parents obviously are getting older, so we wanted to be closer. But now with the COVID, we can't see them. So, I mean, we're just stuck. We can't really go see them right now because we would, yeah, it's quite difficult in some parts of Europe still. Oh, and by the way, I was just answering to Kim's question. Yes. No, but we are going. I'm going to Canada as soon as this is over to see more. Oh, here it is. Heather has it all. Muffins are for breakfast. Cupcakes are for dessert. Now that would be yes. So you could have muffins and cupcakes the same day, which is great. No, Jeremy, that's not how it works. You can have muffin or buy two cupcakes with 2 inches of frosting. Now that's another thing that I'm not too keen on. If the cupcake has like you have this much of a cake and then it has this much frosting, I'm not too keen on that. I have to say, I like cupcakes. They are visually very appealing, but for eating, I'm not a big fan of that. Okay, Kim. Cupcakes are made by creaming the butter and sugar together to create smooth, fluffy batter. Cupcake batter is beaten significantly longer than muffin batter. True. This creates a uniformness of air bubbles throughout the cupcake. Muffin batter, on the other hand, is beaten briefly and remains relatively lumpy. Very, very true. I think that you can have the cupcake batter can be made by blending. Then you have creaming method, and then you can also use reverse method. That's when and that this would be good for reverse method is more it's stronger, so you could add some fresh fruit to it. And okay, yes, so I guess it is the mixing method that would totally make sense because muffin like banana bread muffins, right? We don't mix them for long because then it would make it too dense. My cupcakes always deflate. So it's probably, I find that this could be that the temperature in your oven, something off with your temperature, or you open the oven too quickly, or it could just be a faulty recipe. But from my experience, I think you should be able to make cupcake from most of the cakes. That you just have to adjust the baking time. Or it could happen if you're taking your cupcakes too quickly from the oven and introduce them to a really cool area that could also cause your cupcakes or cake to deflate. Of course, we're going to figure things out. We always do. We always do. It's a teamwork, Jeremy. Okay, yes, we'll do well, but yes we will, and we'll have lots of fun for sure. Okay, so what kind of cupcakes do you guys want to see? Do you want to see chocolate cupcakes, vanilla cupcakes, strawberry cupcakes? Do you want to see decorated cupcakes with fondant, or what is it that you would like to see? Let me know. I'm still waiting for this bread to do its magic. Oh, whew, it's starting to look. I'm so happy. I love this bread so much. So nobody's baking with me, huh? Nobody, I don't see anybody saying they're baking. So I hope, oh, decorated. All right. So, because we were going to do like different, like for holidays, seasonal cupcakes, have some fun with it, maybe some fondant decorations. Because I haven't worked with fondant in a long time and I love doing it. Oh, come on. Come on, Jeremy. It's not. I just, yeah. I need to learn more about sourdough. That's one thing that this year I really want to do. Yes, I do make my own fondant, although here I'm going to find it hard to source marshmallows. I make marshmallow fondant, which is super easy to make. I have a recipe on the blog. Um, and I've used it for years. That is actually the only fondant that I've used, marshmallow fondant. I made it with regular size marshmallows or also mini marshmallows. Ooh, pastry cream cupcake. Sounds good. I also like filled cupcakes. That's like that's like when you fill it with um, okay, senior moment again with truffles. You make truffles, and before you bake them, you put it in a center. Oh, so good. You can fill them with jam when you swirl it. I mean, I do like to like make them, but I'm not. I guess I like to make them, but I don't like to eat too much of them. Boston cream cupcake ganache. Yes, making sourdough is so much fun. I'm not super good at it yet, but I don't care. Yes, that's excellent. Yes, you have to enjoy pure joy. Absolutely. I only tried making my own sourdough starter once, and it was a big failure. So I didn't look at it after, but I'm going to try again. Because once you have the starter, right, it's culture that is going to live forever, pretty much, if you feed it and if you treat it well. Oh, what did I call you? I don't know. I don't remember. I remember senior moment. Yes, berry jam. That would be good. I also like glazes. When like you make your own glaze and you glaze them. One of the favorite things is when I was in Norway, they made ice cream, or they made. I bought an ice cream and it was dipped in chocolate. It was like a soft serve. So I always wanted to make a cupcake like that, and I think I did years ago, where you add frosting and then I guess you freeze it or refrigerate it and then you dip it in chocolate. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I bake almost exclusively sourdough bread. Awesome. Maybe I can then we can exchange information. I will exchange information for decorated cookies, and then you can teach me how to make sourdough bread. How about that, Sally? All right. I think these are okay. I think they are ready. You can tell when they are ready. Your dough, I don't know. Can you see? All right. So when you press it, you don't want to obviously make a hole, but it should spring back. It should spring back. If you make a hole, if you make a dent in it and it's not going anywhere, it means it was either overproofed or it's underproofed. So this is springing back. So I'm going to put this into the oven. I'm going to spray them. Although, like I said, my oven has, let me just check if if I have enough water in there. All right, so this should be good. Because there are two containers in the oven. One is a water container, and one is where the condensation goes. So, the oven is so smart, it tells you what to do. Awesome, Sally. I am really dying to learn more about sourdough bread. I have a very good friend. She's like sourdough bread queen in my mind. In like she's fabulous. She's a bakery, but she's very very busy. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spray them. Okay. And I'm putting them into the oven. Oh, it says filled with fresh water. Oh, fresh water now. Come on. So these are the containers. See? So I need to empty one and fill the other one. And you can only use that water. You cannot use distilled water. All right. Okay, so I'm putting the buns in. And I also pressed a little button that introduces steam. So at that point, you would also, when you put it in, you would also pour a little water on the bottom in your shallow container. She wants to learn more about sourdough. I goes, honey has must. Oh yeah, no, it takes longer than that, Jeremy. I'm mainly interested. Like I really love how the sourdough is shaped. I love the cutting, and on the top it's so pretty. So you don't have. Okay, so we have yes fondant. Another problem with fondant I will have here is the sugar. Sugar here, it's quite terrible. Powdered sugar, it's really really bad in Spain. Um, they do have fine sugar, but it's quite expensive. I would say half pound, it's like $5 or something. So I actually ended up getting my sugar. I was able to find a British store and a brand called Tate Lyle, and they make really nice sugar, but it is expensive. So 3 kilos, about 6 pounds, it's 10 euros, which I'd say what $12. So you do the math. So it's quite expensive. Yes, Zoe bakes. Yes, her bread. Yes, yeah. If you're not following Zoe bakes on Instagram. She makes wonderful breads. That's where I learned about sourdough starter. What she does, she actually dries it into flakes. So I want to try making that, and then you can actually it could be a gift for someone. You put the flakes in a jar, and here is the sourdough starter. Go bake a thing. You know, what's the best thing baking related thing about Spain? Whew. Um, I haven't tried a lot of bakeries. I have to admit, but they're very fond. They have a lot of desserts that involve meringue, which I love. So I'm going to hopefully soon we'll do some bakery scouting so I can find my favorite bakery in the area. There is where we live. It's a very international area, I have to say. So there is a lot of different varieties. I recently tried. This is, I think, a Russian cake or Ukrainian cake, which was fantastic. It was layered puff pastry with, I think it was like a caramel pastry cream or something like that. It was to die for. And I love Spanish omelette. That's not really sweet, but it's delicious. Yes, I have seen also how to make powdered sugar, um, but the amount I need, I would need an industrial blender or something. I've tried it, but my little blender is not strong enough. I put in like a couple cups, and it was like, it wasn't it wasn't turning. But you can, I think you can definitely make it. But I don't know how fine it would get, because in the US you get 10 times pulverized powdered sugar, which is a super fine powdered sugar, and it's everywhere. Here it's not so much. The sugar you get, like the regular powdered sugar, it is fine, but there are like lumps in it. So if you're working with real icing, then it will clog up your bag, or I find that I have a consistency issue then, because it's not like dissolved, and then I don't know, like it's changing the consistency. Okay, I should probably set my timer, but I'm just gonna watch it. It's usually 12 to 13 minutes until these are done. Let me just check. Ooh, they are puffing up. They're puffing up. Now, if you are shaping these and you don't press hard enough, and what can happen for the seam to seal on itself, on the dough, what can happen in the baking, it can kind of open up and separate. And I see one of the buns are doing just that. Yes, yes, I do need a mixer. It's fine. I'm fine without the mixer for now. I really want to get another Kenwood, because it was so good. I was really happy with it, especially because of the dough. It wasn't very loud. It's very compact, and it wasn't it wasn't too heavy. Like KitchenAid is quite heavy. KitchenAid is really a horse of a mixer. Because it can take a beating with such a heavy metal structure. But the Kenwood, yeah, I really love Kenwood. I loved it also because of the bowl shape. It wasn't tapered at the bottom, so the beaters will get all the way to the bottom, and you don't have to scrape the bowl as many times. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, I am making hot dog buns. These are in the oven right now, and I'm just waiting for them to bake. You can make 2 batches with no problem at a time when you have a stand mixer. If you have a large KitchenAid mixer, a professional one, you can I think do 3 batches. But then you have to make sure that you have enough oven space to bake these off, otherwise they will overproof. Like I mentioned before, in this recipe you can use dairy butter for the fat, or you can also use vegan butter and make these completely vegan. There's no egg in this recipe, and you can find this recipe on my blog, and it is also listed in my supply list in my coffee shop, and link to the coffee shop is running below this image at the bottom of the screen. And this supply list, it's a PDF. So when you download it, PDF will open up when you click on the file, and all of these images are clickable. So if you click on homemade hot dog buns recipe, it will link you to my blog, and all the other tools you see here, they will link you to the Amazon shop. One thing I wanted to mention, my favorite scale. I mentioned it several times during the lives. This is my favorite scale to use. If you don't have this scale, get it. You will love it. It's a great gift for any baker. So if you're planning Christmas, Christmas is going to be here before we know it, right? So if you're planning some Christmas shopping, get on it and get this scale, and the person is going to love you for it. It is such a good tool to have. Another tool that I love, also using Dough Easy Roll Mat. It's great for cookies. And it's also great for bread and pizza and all kinds of other treats. It's great for rolling out fondant, which I have done multiple times. Okay. Oh, Karen, you made me laugh. Why would you need? Have you ever tried Bosch? No, I have not tried Bosch. Yeah, I guess you refer to the big one that looks like it's gonna take off. It looks like a helicopter, doesn't it? I have not tried Bosch, I have to say, but I know a lot of people love it. But I think for the volume of baking that I'm doing now, I think it may be overkill for me because I think it's quite like industrial size. Like you can make, I don't know, 4 or 5 batches of dough in there. So I don't know if I would actually kind of use it to the full potential, to its full potential. What kind did you say? I don't know. Oh yes, so the mixer I really like is the Kenwood. Here is the picture, or similar. Some of these Kenwood mixers, they come with a heating element. My sister-in-law has one with a heating element, and what it does, if it doesn't break, her heating element after 10 years, it actually broke, unfortunately. But 10 years, it's a long time. So what it does, you can actually, it works for like egg whites. If your dough has to be heated up, sometimes you have to mix egg yolks with sugar over a pot with simmering water. So this mixer, if it has the heating element, it will do it for you. You set the temperature. She just sets the temperature, and it does it automatically. Like, it's fantastic. It does it automatically. What color is it, Jeremy? Your KitchenAid? Oh, yeah. I would actually agree with that. I would agree with that. I actually have. Hold on a second. I think I do have a Bosch. That yes, I do have a Bosch, but not that kind. Not that kind. My husband bought me a like a multi mixer. Um, it is such a pain to clean. I'm like, because it had like, yeah, it is pain to clean, so I'm not using it as much. But it's not as strong. It's like, because it's a multi mixer, it only, you know what I mean. Like, you have so many different functions, but they are not, none of them is like super great, if you know what I mean. Yes, yes, that's the cardboard bowl have. Now, June, can you, if you are on a call, it does not have a bump, does it? I don't. It's like it's wider. The cardboard bowl is wider at the bottom. Okay, let me check on these. All right. So they are coming along. I think it doesn't have the bump. Yes, we do love Bosch, and Bosch is very dominant here in Spain as well. They have a lot of different tools and for the kitchen appliances and things like that. I actually had I had silver KitchenAid. That was a large kitchen, like a professional one. Then I had cinnamon. That was my very first KitchenAid, cinnamon. And after 12 years, she was going strong. Then I had raspberry. Yeah, I think I had 3 KitchenAid ones. Well, I guess everybody is talking about the Bosch. That is the large one that can take a lot of batter. So if you make a lot of cakes, I guess it would make sense, because it seems like it really does mix well. But like, yeah, there is always a drawback, so it doesn't clean well, or maybe takes up too much space. So if you don't make that many cookies or cakes. Also, it does have a bump. Okay, I forget because it's been a year. Yes, you have to name your mixer. Yes, Pinkie Pie. So, do you guys have a mixer? Did you name your mixer? I know it's a popular thing to name your mixers. I had quite a lot of mixers, and I am ashamed to say that I've never named any of them. Any of them. Oh, cars. Okay, bring that on. Okay, so what's the name of the car that you have? It smells amazing, guys. I wish you could smell it. It is amazing how it smells. I loved my mixers, but here in Europe the voltage is different. So I decided to sell them, and they really went to excellent homes. One my dear friend, she's using it, and actually rest of them, one lady bought it, so that was awesome. She was excited. I don't know if she was starting a small business or what, but she was so excited. So I think it went to a good home. Ooh, a green. Yes, I do. I did talk to my mixers too. I also talk to my oven and microwave and yeah, fridge when it makes a noise. Facebook link. What do you mean Facebook link, Dana? Could you please? I don't know what you are referring to. Okay, so I'm going over. Oh my goodness, it's hour and a half. I don't know if there's a better smell than baking bread. It's so good. Yes, I think the new owners very much love their mixers. Facebook link. I'm not following. Okay, let's see. Okay, they're almost done. They're not browning as fast as they should be. Oh, okay. So the link to the Facebook. Um, Let me just grab it. So the link to the Facebook. I'm just gonna put it in a comment. So this is how you can find me on Facebook. This is my Facebook page. Okay. So you can find me there. And there you can also access the whole library of live videos that we've done over the last year. Now, those of you who are not familiar, we also are going live on Fridays. The cookie lunch break is happening. And it's exciting because this week, Amber has prepared something super fun for you guys. If you watched last week's live, you know what it is. If you haven't, you need to watch it. And we're going to again decorate cookies. Two of us. Marlyn is going to watch us from far, but she will be back for next Friday. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Yes, I think it kind of makes it's just so welcoming, right? When you bake, or what you could also do have some frozen chocolate chip cookies. You know how you can freeze them, shake them in a ball, freeze them on a sheet, and put them in a Ziploc bag. Bake those, couple of those before somebody comes, and oh, it's such a good smell. Okay, almost done, guys. I know it's taking a bit of time, but oh, I forgot. I forgot. I forgot. This is the bread we made in the beginning. And I think this is actually slightly overproofed. You see? how, oh yeah, this is overproofed. You can see, do you know how you can see it's overproofed? So this is a great example. I completely forgot about this. So I'm pressing it like it's, but it's okay because this hasn't been shaped. So I'm going to, I guess, make more buns. Woo-hoo! How come nobody reminded me? So what I'm gonna do, I guess in this case, I'm just going to do what I was telling you about. If you don't have a scale. These are probably not going to be super even, but it's okay. Yes, it wasn't bouncing back like it's, I mean, it should, when you punch it down, it should deflate, but I could see like it was a little too much. I don't know if you can tell, if you could tell from the screen, but it was a bit too much. It doesn't smell bad. So we'll see if we can save it. Or maybe I was wrong. Because it's been almost an hour, I think, since I made it. So for this bread, it's a bit too long. And it is warm in here. Okay, I think I'm going to look at the bread in the oven. Let's see. Ooh, okay, one more steam. So let me just move this. I'm going to quickly do this. And then I'll show you what I do with the spray bottle when I take them out. Thank you, Kim. Okay. All right, so this is out of the way. Now I'm taking the buns out of the oven, okay? And I also have my spray bottle ready, all right? So you want to spray them when they are hot, hot, hot. It does have a, overproof dough has like very yeasty. It's very yeasty and almost like, alcohol. But I don't think this was actually. I don't smell like I'm gonna taste it. Yes, it's just water in a spray bottle. Woo-hoo! Look at this. Oh, let me change the screen so you guys can see better. Okay, so let me quickly. It's like, it's evaporating, but it's going to keep the buns soft. You see this one? I don't know if you can see, oops. You see this one? It kind of separated, opened up a little bit. They could have proofed for a little longer. You see this section here? It should have proofed for a slightly longer time. It wasn't fully, but it's okay. We only have so much time. All right, so I'm gonna finish up these, but I want to say thank you for watching. I would eat the opener up. Smell-o-vision. Yes, I wish there was a smell-o-vision. Oh yeah, with hot butter. Well, I honestly I love hot bread, but be careful when you're eating hot bread because you can kind of hurt your. Sorry. You can kind of hurt your stomach, I think. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, the roller was opening. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover these up. I'm gonna taste it. I know this is not something that you probably do, but oh yeah, it has like a strong yeast yeast flavor. So I don't know. I guess I'll make them and we'll see if somebody likes them. That's the only thing. The yeast flavor. That's what bothers me the most when it's overproofed, because it's not very pleasant. Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. So I'm going to, I guess, toss these. Sorry, folks. Buns. And I'm going to attempt to open one of these up. I know these are quite hot. I don't know if you can see, but they are pretty shiny. And the shine also comes from the water. They are quite hot still. Hot, hot, hot. Ah, so hot. Oh my god, this is so good. See what I love about this bread, I have a kind of a, I don't know if I would call it a fetish, but I like desserts and food that peel. So this you can actually like peel. It's great for kids. Although I guess I shouldn't say that. My mom told me not to play with the food, but I do it anyway. Oh, yeah, you want to let these cool before you freeze them or do anything with them because they are quite hot. So it's gonna take maybe 30 minutes for these to cool, so you can then enjoy them. And again, we will be back. Oh, we will be back next week. Yes, I agree. I agree absolutely. King Arthur flour. It is also my favorite. Like I said in the beginning, it is more expensive. Yes, but I think Costco and BJ's they sell bigger packaging, so you can check it out. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up today. Thank you so much for sticking around for me for whooping almost 2 hours. Thanks so much. If you want to try the recipe again, it's posted on my blog, and it's also part of the supply list that is on a coffee, where you can also shop for templates and other things. Thanks so much, and we will see you on Friday for our regular cookie lunch break, and then on Tuesday I will be back with Mar for another fun bake along. Bye, guys.